Give me a massive mistake you made when putting together flow functional training.
Man, where do I start on that? A lot.
Because I've had a lot of schmucks on this pod that are like, oh, I never made a mistake.
I never made mistakes, bro. I made all the mistakes. I think one of the things I'll start here is one of the things I think I did well was I did a lot of in-person touch points coaching people. A lot like you probably remember this from PT school, and even now it's like you run into clinicians who don't know how to cue people without like putting their hands on them or whatever, which is fine. Like obviously in PT, that's going to be a part of the therapy, but you should be able to cue someone using your verbiage and your vernacular on how to do a specific movement. So that went really well. But I think that understanding kind of like the grand scheme of how the human body moves and being able to coach people through that in a succinct way early on was really, really hard for me to understand because we're taught such an isolated model with a lot of the things. I'm not saying everyone in the physical therapy world is like this, but a lot of what we learn in school is that because we're learning how to diagnose pathologies, right? What's wrong with your shoulder? Okay, let's test external, internal rotation. Is there flexion extension limited? Like, how are we going to go about arriving at some place to help us understand what's actually going on with that person's joint? And I think that because you're taught with that model, it's hard to now pull back and go, okay, let's look at the whole picture here. So early on, like when I first started doing one-on-one training, I would evaluate people and run them through a movement assessment, which is great practice. But mine was like wildly extensive because you're doing a fitness assessment. So it's like I was doing all sorts of things with the shoulders. And now it's boiled down to a very simple, easy to walk through thing that's like, these are the kind of global movements that may expose something that we might need to dive in deeper. But I'm going to do these global movements first. And if they're limited severely in something like that, then you can go back and go, okay, let's check out that shoulder. Or, hey, your thoracic extension was a little limited. Or I noticed your right knee wasn't going through as much flexion as it should while you were doing that squat. How can we maybe dive further into that and dissect the information we actually need? So I think that I started way too specific on a lot of patients and clients that I worked with, and then learned to start broad and then get specific. And that is a way more efficient way to evaluate, but also just more effective. I think it's more effective at the end of the day.